Chapter 16, Killing. To kill is evidently and undoubtedly the most destructive and most corrupt act that is known in the world. The worst form of murder consists in destroying the life or our fellow men. Dreadfully horrible is the hunter who, with his shotgun, murders innocent creatures of the forest. But 1,000 times more monstrous, 1,000 times more abominable is he who murders his fellow men. One not only kills with machine guns, shotguns, cannons, pistols, or atomic bombs. One can also kill with a look that wounds the heart, a humiliating look, a look full of contempt, a look filled with hate. Or one can kill with an ungrateful action, with a black action, or with an insult or a wounding word. The world is full of ungrateful patricides and matricides who have murdered their fathers and mothers, whether it is with their looks, their words, or their cruel actions. The world is full of men who, without knowing, have murdered their wives, and of wives who, without knowing, have murdered their husbands. Not only that, in this cruel world in which we live, the human being kills what he loves most. Man does not live of bread alone, but also of various psychological factors. There are many husbands who would have been able to live longer if their wives had allowed them, and many wives who would have lived longer if their husbands allowed them. There are also many fathers and mothers who would have been able to live longer if their sons and daughters had allowed them. The illness that leads our beloved ones to the grave has as its causa causorum words that kill, looks that hurt, ungrateful actions, etc. This decrepit and degenerated society is full of unconscious murderers who boast of being innocent. Prisons are full of murderers, but the worst type of criminals boast of being innocent and go free. No type of murder can have any justification. No problem is solved in life by killing another person. Wars have never solved any problem. Nothing is solved by bombing defenseless cities and murdering millions of people. War is something that is disgusting, monstrous, and abominable. Millions of stupid, unconscious, asleep human machines go to war with the purpose of destroying so many other millions of unconscious human machines. Often a planetary catastrophe in the cosmos, or an extremely bad position of stars in the sky, is enough for millions of men to go to war. Human machines are not conscious of anything. They act destructively whenever a certain type of cosmic wave secretly moves them. If people would awaken conscience, if at school students were educated wisely, leading them to a conscious understanding of what enmity and war is, another day would dawn. No one would go to war, and the catastrophic waves of the cosmos would be used in a different manner. War smells of cannibalism, life inside caves, bestialities of the worst kind, a bow, an arrow, a spear, an orgy of blood. In any light, it is incompatible with civilization. All men in war are fearful, cowards, and the heroes filled with medals are precisely the most fearful and the most coward. A person who commits suicide also seems to be very brave, but he is a coward because he was afraid of life. A hero at heart is a person who commits suicide, who in an instant of supreme terror commits the folly of suicide. The madness of suicide is easily confused with heroic bravery. If we carefully observe a soldier's conduct during war, his ways, his look, his words, his steps in battle, we can see his total cowardice manifested. Teachers of school, colleges, and universities should teach their students the truth about war. They should guide their students to consciously experience that truth. If people had full conscience of what the tremendous truth about war is, if teachers knew how to educate their students wisely, no citizen would let themselves be led to the slaughterhouse. Fundamental education should be imparted immediately in all schools, colleges, and universities, because it is precisely at school desks where one should work for peace. It is urgent for new generations to make themselves fully conscious of what savagery and war are. In schools, colleges, and universities, enmity and war should be understood in depth in all its aspects. New generations should understand that old people with their rancid and clumsy ideas always sacrifice young people and take them like oxen to the slaughterhouse. Young people should not let themselves be convinced by militarist propaganda, nor by old people's reasons, because one reason opposes another reason and one opinion another opinion, but neither reasoning nor opinions are the truth about war. Old people have thousands of reasons to justify war and take young people to the slaughterhouse. The important thing is not the arguments over war, but experiencing the truth of what war is. We do not pronounce ourselves against reason nor against analysis. We only want to say that, first of all, we should experience the truth about war, and then we can give ourselves the luxury of reasoning and analyzing. It is impossible to experience the truth about not killing if we exclude intimate, profound meditation. Only very profound meditation can lead us to experience the truth about war. Teachers should not only give intellectual information to their students, but should also teach them how to use the mind, how to experience the truth. This decrepit and degenerated race thinks of nothing but killing. This matter of killing repeatedly is only typical of a degenerated human race. The agents of crime propagate their criminal ideas via the television and cinema. Children of this generation receive daily from the television children's stories, cinema, magazines, etc. A strong, poisonous dose of murders, shooting matches, terrible crimes, etc. One cannot switch on the television without seeing words filled with hatred, bullets, and perversity. The governments of the earth are not doing anything against the propagation of crime. The minds of children and young people are being led by the agents of crime along the path of crime. The idea of killing is already so propagated, so diffused via the cinema, novels, etc., that it has become totally familiar to all the world. The rebels of this new generation have been educated for crime and kill for the pleasure of killing. They delight in seeing others die. This is what they have learned on television, at the cinema, in novels, comics, and magazines. Crime reigns everywhere, and governments do nothing to correct the instinct of killing from its very roots. It is up to teachers in schools, colleges, and universities to strongly manifest their indignation and move heaven and earth to correct this mental epidemic. It is urgent that teachers of education sound the alarm and ask all the governments of the earth for the censure of cinema, television, etc. Crime is multiplying terrible due to all these spectacles of blood, and at the rate we are going, the day will come when no one will be able to walk freely in the streets without fear of being murdered. Radio, cinema, television, and magazines of blood have given such propagation to the crime of killing. They have made it so agreeable to weak and degenerated minds that the heart does not need to be tempted to put a bullet into someone or to stab another person. Because there is so much propagation of the crime of killing, weak minds have been too familiarized with crime, and now they even give themselves the luxury of killing as imitation of what they saw at the cinema or on television. Teachers, who are the educators of people, are obliged in fulfillment of their duty to struggle for the new generations, asking the governments of the earth for the prohibition of spectacles of blood, and finally the cancellation of all types of films and murders, robberies, etc. The struggle of teachers should also extend itself to bullfighting and boxing. The bullfighter is the most coward and criminal type. The bullfighter wants all the advantages for himself and kills to entertain the public. The boxer is the master of murder, who in his sadistic manner hurts and kills to entertain the public. These types of spectacles of blood are barbaric 100%, and they stimulate minds directing them to the path of crime. If we really want to struggle for peace in the world, we should begin a marathon campaign against spectacles of blood. While there exists destructive factors inside the human mind, there will inevitably be war. Inside the human mind, there exist factors that produce war. These factors are hate, criminal instincts, militarist ideas propagated by television, radio, cinema, etc. The propaganda for peace, the Nobel Peace Prizes become absurd, while there exists within man the psychological factors that produce war. Actually, many murderers have the Nobel Peace Prize.